And this is our midweek spiritual gathering. Really grateful that you're here, be it live or if you're listening to this later. Know that the intention of this gathering, couple layers to it. The first is to study this wonderful book, The Way of Mastery. The first book we're reading is called The Way of the Heart. We're moving through it slowly. Each Wednesday night, we drink in a few pages and really give ourselves time to be with it and to think about it. If you're here for the first time, welcome. You don't even need to have this book. Being here tonight is you answering your spirit's call for something different. So know that have the book, don't have the book, just starting today, jumping in, wherever you are, you're welcome here. Another intention of our midweek gathering is to just exhale and lay down the week, stopping in the middle of the week and resetting, letting go of anything that's gotten stirred up, and really taking the time to remember who we are, what's true about us, and what we're here for, which is to become masters of our lives and create whatever is in our heart to be created, to be whoever we're here to be. So I like to begin with a centering meditation practice. If you're able to join me, please do. But if you're out and about, you're walking around, perhaps just focus on deeper breathing. That's also wonderful. Just nice full body breaths is a wonderful way to settle in and relax. But if you're capable of closing your eyes, please join me in doing that. Nice big inhale. Exhale, feel those shoulders relax. Another nice slow inhale, feeling the body expand, expand, expand. Hold that breath. And exhale. And a third time, breathing in through the nose, nice and slow, enjoying the breath coming in, enjoying the body naturally expanding, and hold that breath at the furthest edges. Excuse me. And exhale, relaxing even more. Inviting the mind to become quiet, still. Use the breath as a focal point. If your mind wanders, when you notice that it has, just release the thought and return to the breath. Say to the mind, peace, be still. Imagine with me in the center of your chest, your heart flowering open, like petals that open up to the sun. And as those petals open, they release the energy of self-love, acceptance. Imagine that swirling around inside of you, purifying the body temple, cleansing the energetic body, releasing any toxins that you've activated through your thinking or through any activity in the world. And also imagine flowing from your heart the energy of forgiveness. That is our focus for tonight, continuing on that conversation. So imagine forgiveness flowing out from you, going up into your shoulders, down your arms, your neck, your head, your torso, down your back, into your hips and down your legs and feet. Your whole body's filled with the love and the energy of forgiveness. And just affirm within yourself, I am forgiven. All is forgiven. I am forgiven. All is forgiven. I'm going to take a moment to speak a blessing upon our time together, knowing that each of us is here by divine appointment, by answering the call of Spirit within. And so I honor everyone here live, those on Facebook Live, those in the Zoom room, and I honor those who will be listening to this or watching it later on, meeting their perfect divine appointment. I know that this perfect gathering is the open space for us to awaken to the mastery that is possible for us, mastery of thought, mastery of emotions, mastery of creation, mastery of our lives and our world, not from a place of control. That's not what we're talking about. From a place of power and freedom, surrender, and allowing. This is the way we become masters. And that's what I know is possible for us tonight. So we're blessed, we are guided. I am so grateful. And so it is. Amen. Amen. All right. Well, really glad to be with you all tonight. Thank you for showing up. And I always want to honor Ryan, who is supporting us on the tech end of things, really just making my part effortless by being of service and helping us out. So thank you, Ryan. He's under the name of Mark Lord, just so you know. So there's two of us here playing the game. So I want to jump to screen share and go over a couple things I've got here. Number one, let's look at what the way of mastery is. The way of mastery is a pathway of forgiveness, self-love, and the acceptance of the perfection of each moment. It is designed to return your mind to holiness, to wholeness. This midweek virtual gathering gives you tools to help you trust in the voice of God and will ultimately benefit us all as we bring love and light to the world and awaken through the atonement, which simply means the undoing of fear. These teachings will give you mastery over your entire life. I love that. That's the promise of these books. It's been my experience of reading them, and it's what we're here for tonight. And then moving to the next one. This is something that's in the front of the book, and it's called at the very, very beginning, before, like right after content. There's the introduction, then the next one, I promise you this. And I put this in first person, present tense as a declaration. So please feel free to read this with me and feel free to read it out loud if you're in a place where you can do that. It gives it more energy, or just in your mind. I am wholly committed to awakening from the dream I have dreamt since the stars first began to appear in the heavens. My one desire is to be only what God created. Right now, I lay at the altar of my heart with every breath, everything I think I know, everything I think I need. And I look lovingly upon every place that fear has made a home in my mind, and I allow correction to come. It will come. Regardless of how I experience it, it will come. And the day and the moment will arise, and all of my pain and fear and suffering will have vanished like a wind that pushes the foam of the wave away, revealing the clarity of the ocean beneath me. I will literally feel throughout my being that there never was a dream. Some memories might remain with me, and I will know that somewhere I must have dreamt a dream or had a thought of wondering what it would be like to be other than the way God created me. But it will be such a faint echo that it will leave no trace upon me. In my heart, I will smile gently, regardless of the circumstances in which I find myself. There will be peace from the crown of my head to the tips of my toes, and that peace will walk before me wherever I go. It will enter a room before I enter it with a body, and those who are becoming sensitive will wonder who has come into their place. And some will even say, behold, I believe Christ has come for dinner. And I will be that one, for that is who I am, Christ eternal. I just love that. We read it a good number of, excuse me, we read it a good number of times, not every Wednesday night that we gather, but when we do, it's such a powerful, powerful declaration. And it really does speak to the idea of we are dreaming. And I really love that word. And it might be hard for you to understand because you might be highly committed to believing the dream, but I am not highly committed to believing the dream. And yet I'm in the dream. I'm having the dream. But when even reading this, or when someone says to me, when you're in pain and suffering, you're just dreaming yourself separate from God. And I immediately go, oh, yes, I believe that. I know that. I know that. I'm still kind of powerless over the dream taking over, but that's okay. That's okay. That's just a matter of time. That's a matter of practice. More and more and more, I recognize whenever I feel stirred up, and whenever the body's in reaction, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's part of the dream and it's totally fine. There's great freedom to be found in that. So that's what I pass on to you. By the way, feel free to comment and chat in here if you want to. Leave any comments. If you're in the Zoom room, for sure, or if you're on Facebook Live, let us know you're here. Put a comment, put a question. Ryan is very awesome about monitoring both. So know that we want to hear from you. And we're going to move into continuing our reading. And currently, we are in lesson 3, which is the power of forgiveness. So a super, super important conversation. And I am on page 61 with the bold letters in the middle that says forgiveness, the bridge to the soul of your brother and sister. So again, if you don't have your book, this is your time to really turn within and really listen to every word that I'm reading, because they're living words and they will have impact on you in very positive ways. So I'm going to begin there. Forgiveness, the bridge to the soul of your brother and sister. There's nothing you can be aware of in the energy of another that you've not known in yourself. There's nothing another can say or do, or even imagine themselves capable of saying or doing, that you have not also known. Again, it takes one to know one. When you perceive another acting out of hostility or fear, the only way you can recognize it is because you have been there. So, first paragraph, we got to stop. So I want you to really understand what they're saying. If you see someone who's being an asshole, the only reason you know that and feel that is because you've been there. If you see someone being horrible, disgusting, if you see something that is so unbelievable, if you're seeing it and you're experiencing it, the only reason is because you've been there, or it lives in you and somehow. It's impossible, absolutely impossible, to have something come into your energetic field that you aren't on some level attracting or a magnetic pull for. Now, most of this is in the subconscious mind, or you projected this part of you out so profoundly that you literally can't relate to it. If I say to you, there's a murder in you because you're seeing a murderer, or there's a murderer in your energy field, you can't fathom how that could be possible, because you can comb your mind to go, I've not murdered anybody. I don't even know what you're talking about. But as we become open to believe and receive and allow and expand and expand and expand, I go, gosh, how many people have I murdered with my thoughts? How many good ideas have I murdered out of fear? How many ways have I caused life to be impeded or stopped because of my judgments or my words? How many times have I caused someone else, or at least participated in someone else deciding not to be in their power and in their beauty because I have stomped on their grace or their power because of my fear or whatever. So I can, although it may not look exactly this for that, like quid pro quo, exactly this for that, that's been on the news today, admittedly. Although it may not be an exact match, I start to go, not looking for exact match or saying that's not in me, but getting more interested in, but how is it inside of me. Excuse me. Do you see how that interest alone can open me up to go, huh? And there's no judgment here. Curiosity is the key. Curiosity is the key. And I've got to go, how is that in me? Am I willing to see and accept that? Right? So many hate Trump. Is that because he's acting like the way we all are? I love that question, and I'll address it now. Hold on, because I'm in my throat. Couple things. There's a collective hate that doesn't know how to be embraced or transmuted or expressed. So it goes underground, 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 underground. And this hate just builds and builds and builds and builds. And it's an energetic, and it won't be denied. It will be expressed. And so every once in a while, if you look throughout all of history, very, very domineering, hateful leaders, well, they're not just here in America, they're all over the world. They've always been around. They've always taken power and abused power. And the reason that exists is because we are also disempowered. We're so disempowered, and we're so unrelated to our own mastery and our own fullness of feeling. Remember, atonement, undoing of all fear. We're still wrapped in all kinds of fears. And then because we don't know how to feel them or own them or have them or unravel them, they get tighter and tighter and tighter, and and then we project them out. If enough people do that, give away their power, give away their power, give away their power, at some point in time, one individual or a collective group or something will rise up, and they will claim that power, be it Hitler, be it any of the dictators in the world. I mean, there's been so many very, very hateful leaders, and they are the expression of the collective. And the reason I know that is because the collective allowed them to get there. The collective energetically agreed to this happening. And, this is a crazy idea, but there's also a way that those individuals can rise up to present to us relief. Like maybe they're saviors. I know that you can't even fathom the idea that Trump would be a savior. But what if he's actually saving us from ongoing upset by causing this all to rise up and be seen? One of the things I am grateful for, and this sounds crazy, but I'm very grateful to see how much divisiveness and racism and pain still exists. I didn't know that. I don't live in that. I don't live in that world. It's not my world at all. So to see it in the larger game, to see how many people are rising up, how many stories I'm hearing today that I didn't hear before, I'm pretty fascinated by that. So there is a collective rising up of the underbelly of the pain that wasn't being addressed. And I do think that that's a byproduct of the current situation. So just my thought about that. We could have a whole talk on that, but we're not here for that. But thank you for writing that. All right, moving on. The very fact that in your world, one can murder, here we go, one can murder another's body, and you can react with knowledge that it's inappropriate behavior is because as a soul, you know that energy is involved in the attempt to murder another. You know the energy is involved in the attempt to murder another. If you're honest with yourself, you can probably come up with at least 50 times in the last year that murderous thoughts have entered your mind. I could have just kept reading. Exactly what I was saying is right there in the next paragraphs. I didn't know that, I swear. You may not act on them. You may not even dwell on them for more than a split second, but the energy has come into the field of your awareness, and you have known it and recognized it. Who then is less than you? Who then is worthy of your judgment? No one. Who then is equal to you? Everyone. And who then is worthy of your love? Everyone. Highlight that. Highlight those sentences, man. Who then is less than you? Who then is worthy of your judgment? No one. Who then is equal to you? Everyone. And who then is worthy of your love? Everyone. Forgiveness is the bridge that links you to the soul, the essence of your brother or sister. Forgiveness is that bridge that, when cultivated, will allow you to see clearly, not just the energies that another is expressing, but you will literally be able to see what events seemed to cultivate that soul's belief that they must act in that way to survive, and what perceptions have led them to feel justified in their inappropriate behaviors. You will see it as clearly as though someone had drawn a picture in front of you. Then you will see skillfully what to say and what to do to gently help another correct their misperceptions of themselves and learn the path of self-forgiveness. And when that hour comes, rest assured, you will walk in this world, yet you will not be in it. You will be as I became. You will be the savior of the world. So I want to read on a little bit because this next stuff is super important. The veil of projection. I love the conversation of projection. What is projection? Projection occurs when there has first been denial within yourself. Projection is an act in which you psychically try to throw out of your ownership everything that you have judged as being despicable or unworthy of you, something you do not want. So something that is vile, despicable, unworthy of you, that you don't want in you, you psychically spat it out of you onto the world. So you will project it. You will throw it up and out and let it land on whomever happens to be nearby. Projection is the effect of the denial of the first axiom that I have given you. It is the denial of the truth that nothing you experience has been caused by anything outside of you. So hear this. Projection makes the first axiom that we studied untrue. And the first axiom is nothing you experience has been caused by anything outside of you. Nothing out there in the world has caused your suffering, your pain, your relationships, your disempowerment. Nothing in this world has made you penniless. Nothing in this world has made you physically sick. Nothing in this world has done anything to you. You are the creator of your life. Projection is what allows you to not take responsibility. Projection is that which allows you to blame somebody else for your problem. Projection is what allows you to say, if they were different, then I would be okay. The problem is those equations will never be true. They will never work in your favor. But projection makes you believe it. It's very, very, very powerful. All right. Wow. I've read this before. I haven't read it this week, though I typically do. I got a whole blue section on the top of the next page. Projection is the attempt to insist that reality is other than the way God made it, that you are not powerful, that you're a victim of circumstances, that you are in a world that can actually do things to you and cause you to make decisions that you would not have made otherwise. That is always denial, and it is a lie. Feel free to highlight that. Super, super important. Projection keeps you living a lie. Projection keeps the victim triangle going. Projection keeps you disempowered and unable to make the changes that you really want. And really, we're afraid of our power. We're afraid to be courageous and choose ourselves. We're afraid to do that, so we project it out onto other people and we blame them. Well, if they were different, then I could be free. That is the dream. Let's go on. Again, projection is the denial of the first axiom of truth, and you have mastered it well. Projection is what you've mastered well. When you project onto another, you will then believe that your anger or your hatred is justified. Of course, you have to hate them. They're your problem. You have to judge them because look what they're doing. It's so wrong. It gives you permission to be shitty. That's my definition of projection. Projection gives you permission to be shitty. I need to write that one down. In fact, the legal system means merely to take the act of projection and the need to judge and to make it okay socially, so that you need not be concerned with this other as your brother or as your sister who has been crying out for help. Rather, you become justified in punishment. Yet punishment is only the insane attempt to convince the punisher that the darkness, the evil, whatever you want to call it, is not in them, it is out there. Oh my gosh, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath on that one, because our entire society is built on the punishment system. If we could only get all those criminals into a prison, if we could only get all those bad people out of the way, then we'd be okay. It is such a racket. It is such a racket. And the only thing the system does is keep more people being bad. It doesn't heal anyone. It doesn't make anybody better. It doesn't change their cycle. In fact, what we've seen is that in our prison system, so many times people go in and they don't get rehabbed. They don't get, recalibrated. I can't think of the word. They get sent back into society. And within a little bit of time, they're right back in prison. So our systems are very, very, very broken. And that's fine. That's what's happening out there. Our job here tonight is to just realize it and wake up and stop ourselves from putting other people in prisons. Stop ourselves from blaming and judging other people, including ourselves. See, it's not like stop blaming them, so start blaming me. Stop blaming. Stop judging. And just let what's here be here, and it will begin to transmute and transform. I'm going to read out a little bit more, the bottom of page 64. Imagine then a society in which the prevalent legal view is simply that your brother or your sister is an aspect of yourself, and if you would help yourself, you must help them, meeting each cry for help and healing with forgiveness, love, and support. Can you imagine for a moment what it would be like to live in such a society? How would it be different from the world you see? If you would have these things be different, it must begin with you. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here. For the way to heal the world is not by seeking to change what is on the outside, but by first changing what is on the inside. When that change has occurred, you will become a conduit for an energy that knows how to use your gifts and how to place you in just the right situations. And a great power will work effectively through you. The power alone that knows how to heal your world. I'm going to stop right there because that's just fantastic. I'm going to mark that in my book. The power within you is the power to heal the world. And this is where we really are being called to rise up and become masters of our own self first. And then when that is established, the flow of spirit, the flow of that power will move in the direction of lifting others up, completely changing the world. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. All right, my friends. That's the first half hour, and we're going to turn off the Facebook Live. But before we do that, please, if you've been attending through Facebook Live, would love for you to make a contribution to Unity Naples if this lesson has moved you tonight. But I'd really like to invite you to please, Ryan, if you can put the link to register to give their name and email to be on the Wave Mastery email list. We'd love for you to join that email list because that's going to keep you connected to what's coming up in the upcoming months, because we're going to be making some technical changes on how we're doing our lesson. And we really want you to be in the know. And we'd love for you to stay with us, because when we turn off Facebook Live, we're going to be spending another half hour in what's called the Zoom room. So we get a full hour here, and I want you to have that hour with us. But we need you to be on our mailing list. So please help us out with that. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for giving us your name and email. We will not abuse it. We will just keep you connected to this very important conversation. So Facebook Live, I'm Mark Anthony Lord. Peace and love. Oh, Ryan, you're so good with that. Turning it off. Awesome job. Thank you so much. All right, my friends, this is a really important conversation. We're just starting the conversation of projection, the idea that everything is you, and what you see that you don't like is disowned. But the work is to wake up and to own it, and then it begins to change. So a lot was shared tonight. Before we move into an experience of self-forgiveness, I'd love to just say, now is your time to share about what you've heard, or ask any question if something was confusing. And the way you do that is Ryan's putting in the chat box. You just click your hand, raised hand. If you click on that, I will see your hand, and then I'll call your name. You unmute yourself in the lower left corner, and then we can have a conversation. So I'm hoping that we'll get some activity, especially from some of you who are here who haven't spoken up. It would be wonderful to hear from you. What did you hear tonight? Let me mirror it back to me in your words. And what do you think about it? Would love for someone to speak up. What are you thinking? All right, Christine, thank you for being the first one. If you can just unmute yourself. Unmute yourself in the lower left corner. Or maybe I can help you. Nope, you got to unmute yourself, it looks like. Huh. Ah, there you are. Hi.
Hi, yes, I had to unmute myself. A little tab came up. It wasn't in the corner where it usually is. Hi, Red Mark Anthony. This is really amazing, powerful stuff. And I've been working on forgiveness ever since I did your forgiveness workshop last year, October with Susie. And I find it's definitely an ongoing process every day, just being extremely vigilant of where and who and what I'm projecting on, because the mind is so tricky and just sneaks in there, when you least expect it. And the part that every time it is something at this moment within myself, that really kind of shook me, a little bit. Can you hear me?
No, I'm hearing so much noise. I'm trying to listen in.
Oh, but there's no noise here in my place.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's very weird.
Don't know.
You're clear now. Keep going.
Oh, I'm clear now. Okay. I'm saying that the idea, the concept, that every time I project on someone that I am disowning something within myself is mind-blowing, shocking. I've known it intellectually, but I'm now beginning to get it in my heart. And so I'm becoming more and more vigilant of what I'm projecting onto others. And immediately, most times, I can catch myself and say, whoa, what's going on inside here, Christine? What is it that's coming up for healing, Christine? Because I clearly get that there's only one of us here. There's no separation between me and that which I perceive as other. So it's been quite a journey and continues to be.
Yes. Shoot, I'm going to. Yeah, I got most of what you were sharing, but for some reason that noise was all around you. But what I got from your sharing was that you are really getting it. You're working it. It's hard, but you're staying in the game. That's what I discerned out of it. So, so thank you for your sharing. I really appreciate you being here. Who else would like to share or ask a question? What are you hearing? What is challenging to you? Where in your life are you feeling challenged to forgive, either around yourself or another? That's another thing. I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to actually have a forgiveness experience with me. We could do that. I can help you, but you got to speak up. All right, Patricia, thank you. You can unmute yourself and share.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Hi. I've been sitting here thinking about forgiveness and that, it's all out there and we're living the dream. Well, I'm not there. I'm not living the dream. There are people pretty hard to forgive. I'm trying to do it. I just there's so many factors that get in the way in your life. So many things that come up, and then to put yourself into the dream that you're not part of that's where I'm having a hard time.
Yeah. Yeah. So where do you feel challenged when and trust me, it's everybody's in the same place. So when you say it's so hard to forgive, what is hard to forgive?
Well, I'm going through a divorce.
Okay.
My husband's being a jerk. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just, he doesn't want the divorce. He doesn't want to give me anything. He pulls all this stuff. You know how people are going through divorce. It's just not a fun time in your life.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I'm so frustrated with him. And
Yeah.
then I have a friend who is bipolar, and I happen to be living with her right now. And that's another hard thing because she's pulling all these antics, from one minute to the next. And, we're a group of friends have gotten together and we've written a letter to her counselor on her behavior. But, living with someone like that, it's hard. She takes a lot out on me. Now I'm moving in another week, so that's that's good. It's good for me.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. When you say you try to forgive, can you tell me what that means? Like, what does it look like? What do you
Okay.
do?
I took a workshop with you back in March on forgiveness, and it
Yes.
was very, very powerful. And I learned to forgive my first husband for the things that he did and then the harm that he caused me and the hurt and pain. That really worked because that was, 26 years ago.
Yeah.
But I always carried that, that pain, that the lack of someone that once loved you and would do horrible things to you. But I got past that. But it's living in the now, living right now
Yeah.
is hard.
That's the key. I love that you're saying that. And I love that you're bringing that up because, it is much easier to forgive someone from 15 years ago when you're distanced from it. And even if it might have been ugly, even if it was horrible, distance allows us to at least have a little more compassion or, helps us grow up a little bit or move on, but when you're in it, that's when it's really tough when you're
Yeah.
so lots of love and self-acceptance because this is like thank you for bringing this up, Patricia. Like really everyone on this call can agree with you and so you brought this forward for the right reason. I want to feel into what the deepest response is for this though. Whenever we are in a situation where the projection is already taken hold onto the other person, when projection has been activated in a way that the other person is playing the part that you have projected onto them, then what happens is it's like a ricochet. And then it's starting to come back at you, almost like literally imagine those ricochets that you throw out and it comes back at you. But when it's coming back at you, it really knows how to pummel you down. It knows how to control you and say all the right things. Why? Because it comes from you in the beginning. Oh my gosh, this is such important information. Please get this. The reason the people the closest at you are getting you at the deepest level because you have projected onto them exactly what is unhealed in you. So they do know the exact words. They know the exact way to ignore you. They know the exact way to withhold. They know the exact way to cause harm because it's like you've given them the keys. to the deepest parts of you, because the deepest parts of you were splatted onto them. Now, that's a cool understanding of it, but what do we do in the middle where now our projection is coming back at us like bullets? Like it's literally, and we're supposed to forgive, we're supposed to forgive, we're supposed to forgive. I'm like Wonder Woman using my wristbands, blocking, trying to practice forgiveness in the midst of an attack. Another image that's coming to my mind as my eyes are closed is that whack-a-mole carnival game where the groundhogs pop up and you have to whack them down. And that's what it can feel like. You just get your head up for air and that person can just whack us right down. Again, because they're playing a very, very, very important, not again, I'm getting this first, sorry. Because they're playing a very, very, very important part in your life. They hold the keys to your freedom. They hold the keys to your freedom. Listen, people, if you can forgive in the midst of an attack, if you can move through it without fighting back, if you can move through it staying conscious of the fact that this is my creation, that nothing is happening to me, and let me add a third component to that, no one outside of me can ultimately cause any harm. When we can keep ourselves anchored and walk through, we are burning so much karma. We are becoming free like we never could have been free before. So what do we do with these people? How do we address these people? I'm seriously just listening with things because I don't have this info myself. But what I'm really getting is this is vitally important for all of us. Before those feet touch the ground every morning, you have got to begin the forgiveness game. You have got to send out a field, a vibration of golden light and forgiveness. You've got to activate forgiveness before your day begins. You're still going to move through bumps. You still might move through all of the old shit that you don't want to move through. But the fact that you activate forgiveness first is that which is going to just start turning it just a little bit, changing it every single day. And your ability to activate and use forgiveness during the day is going to be exponentially increased if you start it in the morning before the monkey mind begins, before you answer that text, before you get that letter in the mail that triggers you and sends you down that rabbit hole, before the things happen in the day. It is vitally important to activate forgiveness for yourself and for everyone, especially those who you're in conflict with. So that's my thought for you today. And that really comes from spirit, the idea. And I really want you to try that, Patricia. I want all of us to do that. Like in this upcoming week, activate forgiveness as your first direction of the day. Does that feel good to you?
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you. I have goosebumps all over. Thank you so much. It's I'm tired. I'm tired of all the stress, and it just seems to be getting harder than getting easier. But I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And
yeah. Well, and if you could sit in the middle of it and just be like, this is my projection. This is my projection. This is my anger coming back at me. This is my unknown. This is my projection. If you can just see the players in your world as your projection acting out because of your creation with no blame or judgment, it's going to also help you stay in your power, and it's going to transform the game. So thank you for bringing this up. It really, I love that you spoke up tonight because you brought us a lot deeper in this conversation.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, friends, let's have one more. What are you hearing with all this? Who else would like to share on this topic? Okay. Lavina. Go ahead, Lavina. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Lavina.
Hi. I have spoken before, but since you didn't have other volunteers, I thought I'd speak up.
Hey, I love it. And you have deep thoughts, so I appreciate that a lot.
Right now, I have a non-deep voice. My throat has given up on me, but I think I want to share because as part of this, connected with what you're saying, I had a major breakthrough with my siblings and my mother based on all our work that we're doing with forgiveness. And I just had this deep love, and I called them on Saturday and just to share gratitude with them. And I knew then that my Ho'oponopono and all of this work has really worked. You know, it's okay to know in our head, in our heart, in theory, but when you can actually feel it and give it to the people that you hold back from or feel the grudge or whatever, right? So it worked. So it's beautiful. And then suddenly my angel suddenly turned into a demon. All of a sudden, because something else my partner did or said or whatever, which totally now I understand. And I knew then even that I was projecting.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's no time to do this. And it was such a small little thing. So I'm sharing the example because today you asked for concrete examples.
Yeah.
It's like the stupidest little thing I yelled over. I literally yelled and I lost my voice, which is a great reminder because in my heart, I want to have this perfect angelic genital voice, loving voice, especially to the person I love so much.
Yeah.
But how come there is when I scream out like that? So now, I mean, I've known it, and all these days I've been swirling in my own heart and head that obviously there's some issue with projection. But the lesson today, just light bulbs just went all over the place. It was perfect lesson. And I almost didn't join today's class because my throat was hurting. I've been sick in bed all week, even though I had this wonderful prayer from you on Sunday with my artwork, but I see it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's like letting go of the oldest, grudges, hurts from, the childhood ones, the mother who said, why were you born? I let go of. So, and I don't hold the hurt anymore. So suddenly I quickly took another one on. And here I am letting go again. I love it that something in my heart just said, no, I got to join the call today, even though it's late. I'm going to join now.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Grateful. I'm so grateful I did. I love you for all the light you bring. And I love myself for the light I can bring to all of this little cobwebs when they show up, and then say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
Because, and I just want to share to Patricia just for a second, because I was there 10 years ago. One of the things that really helped me was reading the book Eat, Pray, Love. I know it sounds trite, but there was this point in it where she writes a letter to the universe, to God, saying and asking, really projecting the good and the harmony for the release from the ex-husband who was giving trouble, and then has it signed writes herself and signs herself, from everybody. And that time I remember doing this in one moment, like God, Bill Clinton, whomever, Mark Lord, everybody who she thinks will happily accept that this is a thing that wants to happen. And once you project that yes, this is an easy thing to happen, the universe allows. And I actually concretely did that practice. And a day or two later, the lawyers called and everything turned around. So I just wanted to share that as a practical advice. Just literally write a letter to the universe, and from Patricia, but then have people witness, testify, as in, obviously not everybody's going to come and sign, but in your journal, just write it. And it's powerful. It's amazing. I mean, I myself was released, and so I just shared that too.
I love it. Thank you, Lavina, and thank you for bringing that forward. I want to make mention and this is helpful for anyone who's in coupleship or relationships. They're close. Actually, this is friendships, family. We all need that person that gives us permission to go crazy. And my husband and I, Patrick and I, we don't do it enough actually, but when we always forget, but then when we bump up against the wall, it's like, I can say, go crazy. I'm just holding space. Go. Don't worry about it. Blow up, scream, lose your voice, call me names, do whatever you got to do. I'm just going to be here and be love and let you get it out. And it's very beautiful to have someone love us in that darkness. That's what we all need. We all need to know that we can lose our minds, let rage come through us and out of us, not at the person so much, but just as an expression to become free, and that we're being witnessed and we're being loved. So everyone, if you're feeling anger or whatever, I don't know, ask that part. Like, it really works if you say, I need to express some emotion. And I'm going to have to do a workshop on that because it's so good. All right, I see a name called Owner, and I'm going to allow them to talk. So if you're Owner, that's your name, then unmute yourself, and you're up. You may not even know that you're Owner. Oh, you do. Hi.
Hi, Reverend Mark. It's Denise Gunn. Sorry, I'm on a different computer. How are you?
Oh, totally good. Totally good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sorry about that. I'm here actually, and a good friend of mine is here checking out the Zoom room tonight. He's been attended on Facebook before. I'll let him introduce himself. He has a question for you.
Okay.
Hi, Mark. Good evening. This is James Stephen. Really wonderful to be tuning in and listening to you tonight. Thank you for everything you're sharing.
Pleasure.
Yeah. I had a situation earlier today where there was a person that I've been involved with having a relationship, a friendship, and assisting and so forth. And it really turned quite kind of odd because it became aggressive towards me, and it was just his way of trying to hold his space. He was feeling threatened, and I felt really I was very uncomfortable, and I was just really, it took me a while to come out of the injustice of it, and I was really, I was quite amazed that it really, it really sucked me under. Kind of like a guy that goes out surfing every day and he's able to handle the swell and the riptide, no problem. And then all of a sudden one day he's just sucked out to the ocean. So it took me a long time to come around and really realize that this is his blessing for me. This is his opportunity for me to see something that I really needed to see, which is for me to really have more of a deeper sense of equanimity and equilibrium and a state of neutrality in the face of seeming, attack. And so my question to you, please, in addition to setting up the field of forgiveness, it's a beautiful idea, but in terms of just how do we really move ourselves into a state where we can consistently stay in that state of neutrality and not be in that place of like tug of war, trying to get away from that, but it's sucking us in, trying to tug away and just be with it and not, because that's, as you know, that's really where the painful is. We just don't want to deal with that. We don't want to go there. So how do we go into that state of, acceptance, neutrality most easily to, develop that state?
Yeah, well, you're not going to like this answer, but I love your question. Tell me your first name.
I must need that answer.
Tell me your first name again.
This is James Stephen.
James. Okay, James, I'm going to speak to everybody, and
Okay.
thank you for speaking on. So for everybody, look, there's this sort of seduction, this sort of spiritual bypass thing that's like, I just want to be peaceful. I just want to be in equilibrium. I just want to be that place. And what it's really saying is, I don't want to have these rocky feelings. I don't want to be authentic. I want everything to just be at this place of harmony, which is a good goal, but it's not where we are currently. We can't get to where we want to be until we accept where we are now and then move through whatever we need to move through to get to there. So peace, equilibrium, harmony, they definitely are the truth of your spirit. They definitely are the blessings that we are seeking. However, many times the way to get there is through authentically acknowledging, I've got a lot of anger in me. I'm really upset. I got to acknowledge that I've got all this sexual creative energy in me and it's going out sideways. Like we have to be so willing to first embrace and love and see all of it, take ownership of it, and inside of that, equilibrium starts, because the muscle of equilibrium will grow as we become more aware to our journey. Like my thought to you, James, is, and my question to you is, you had this blow up today, but
Right.
the reality is, I think it's fair for me to assert that there were 100 things that happened that led up to this. So when it's like, whoa, out of the blue, whoa, where's this coming from? Part of our work is to go, that's not out of the blue. I've been contributing to that outburst known or unknown, conscious or unconsciously, I've been causing that to happen over the last days, weeks, months, years, I don't know. But when we become willing to go, what's my part in this? Show me, Spirit. Spirit will always show us, especially when we're interested in seeing something that's going to help us evolve. Spirit really gets turned on with that stuff. So, I'll give you an example of my own life. I'm talking with my partner, just had some coffee in the morning, and this sort of weird conversation took off, and then it was suddenly like we were upset, and it didn't become a full blow up anger thing, but it was super uncomfortable. And I was like, I'm just out of here, man. I took the dog. I'm just going for a walk. So as I'm walking and I'm starting to breathe deeply, I'm like, I was thinking this shitty thought about him yesterday. And 2 days ago, I withheld my truth when we were driving in the car, and he said, how are you feeling? And I said, I'm fine. But I wasn't fine. Honestly, I was irritated. And I didn't say I was irritated. And 5 days ago, he told me something about money stuff that he said he would pay a bill. He didn't pay a bill. And I said it was okay. But the truth is it wasn't okay. It bothered me. So I was connecting. I had this moment where I was able to connect some dots. I'm just using examples, by the way. I don't know if all those examples are true, but they all could be. I was connecting the dots going, of course this blew up right now. Of course this blew up. I had been participating in withholding. I had been participating in being inauthentic. I've been participating in not telling my truth over time. Yeah. So does any of that make sense to you?
Big time, because I sensed that today that there was a number of things where I had created a sense of disconnection, where he lost faith and confidence and became fearful about his well-being, where I had always maintained a very nice equilibrium. So absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And that absolutely is a very, very, very important point, is that to be able to actually stop in the midst of all of our struggles against this depression, and actually say, hey, well, look what I've been doing, and like turn the tables, like instead of saying, okay, here's what he's doing to me. Okay, now let's turn it around and see, what was I doing to this person that created this experience?
Yes, that's the empowering question.
Yeah.
That's when you take the power back. And this is where you go and you see him tomorrow and you go, hey, dude, by the way, thank you. Thank you for blowing up, because you cleared the energy. I didn't even realize how much stuff was building between us that I also participate in. But that's fights suck, but fights clear the air. Like storm in the sky clears the air for a nice summer breeze to come in. Or
the rainbow after the rain, we got this hellacious rain, but then we have these amazing, amazing rainbows.
Yeah.
And,
so when tension builds, it has to erupt. And that's what happens. So, I don't know the whole story, but that's some of my thoughts about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Very, very good. Thank you. And I wanted to also just mention, last week, I have such a fascination for my music healing, understanding this principle of Immaculate Conception, and how by holding, like Course in Miracles speaks so deeply on this, by keeping a sense of the immaculate nature of the soul and the integrity of the journey of all the twists and turns and the suffering and the happiness, the righteous and beautiful journey of the soul in all its changes and growths, and that you really, really incredibly covered that. I would love to just experience, maybe someday you can just give a workshop on it wouldn't have to be hours and hours, just a half an hour, just go on, because it's such an incredibly powerful realization that you were giving about holding the field of Immaculate Conception and how it radically liberates everybody. So thank you for that. Very, very nice.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. All right, everybody. This, I just love the sharing. It makes it interactive, and I hope, and thank you all who hang out, and many of you don't share, and that's fine, but you stay and you have the conversation. And I really I pray that this, you felt yourself, you saw yourself in this, you noticed where, oh yeah, that's me too. That's the most important thing. So we're going to move this to a close by inviting you to close your eyes with me. Take in a deep breath. Exhaling out gratitude to Ryan for supporting us. Always appreciate him every week. Exhale out, appreciating the Spirit of God, our brother Jesus, who is helping us awaken, and for this wonderful book that is infused with the deep wisdom. And I, by the power of my word, activate forgiveness within every person here, within our minds, within our hearts, within our body temple. And I know that this forgiveness cuts the cords to the past. And I claim for all of us the willingness to let go of self-punishment, to let go of guilt and shame. It has no purpose. God does not hold us as guilty. God does not hold us in shame. And so may tonight be the night that forgiveness truly sets us free. I ask that forgiveness pour itself upon every one of us. And in our sleep time, go so deep into the subconscious mind and do your mighty work. Literally dissolve the roots of suffering. We don't even need to know what they are. Just get in there and dissolve them and open us up so that we can have a greater experience of happiness and authenticity and faith and mastery. That's what we're here for. So I know that this prayer is answered. I truly do. And I know that our being together tonight lifts each other up so much higher than we could ever go alone. I'm very grateful we let it be, and so it is. Amen. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Beautiful evening. Join me next week. We're going to have some updates on how we're moving forward, some new information, and I just love being with you. Peace and love, everybody.